Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I love to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Apostle Tahar and the rest of the elders that are fervently pushing the truth. And as always, peace and blessings unto the elect. All right, so I wanted to do this lesson on how scientists slash anthropologists linked King Solomon's gold mine to ancient Peru. You know, the ancient Incas, which they would be from the tribe of Asher. Right? They said that there's a connection between Asia and Peru, which the ancient Peruvians, they came from the east. All right, they came from, the third part of the earth, because when you read the scriptures, you have four parts of the earth. That's in Revelation, the 6th chapter, and verse 8. It says, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth," which the fourth part of the earth is dealing with America, which you can easily look that up. Fourth part of the earth. They have a book they literally have a book called The Fourth Part, and it will tell you, of the New World, which is done with America. Which, let me go ahead and look it up. Fourth part of the earth. All right, you easily look it up. Right, it says the fourth part of the world. Right, an astonishing epic of global discovery, imperial ambition, and the birth of America. You see that? So the fourth part of the earth is dealing with America, which you had three other parts, which is Africa, Asia, and Europe. And that's where, we're from. All right, Israel is between Africa and Asia, more so Asia. All right, that's why if you look up the Israelites, or if you look up the Swashu people, which the Swashu people were the Israelites, they were known as the Afro-Asiatic people, and that's what we would be considered. We would be considered Afro-Asiatic because Israel is right in the middle. So it says to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So that's the point I wanted to get out of that. The fourth part of the earth, which the fourth part of the earth is dealing with America. And that's where the Northern Kingdom came, after they were being held captive under the Assyrian Empire. So when you read the Book of Kings, Solomon, he had a navy, or he had clicked up with King Hiram, which Hiram of Tyre, which he was a Canaanite. Them two clicked up. Solomon gave him cities. Hiram supplied Solomon with workers to build the temple. Hiram was supplying him with different trees and gold, different things of that nature to build up the temple. And Hiram sent his navy to the land of Ophir, which Ophir is dealing with America. So let me go ahead and read this, and I have other articles as well, right? So it says, King Solomon's gold came from Peru, letting you know that Columbus did not discover America. Okay, you had pre Columbus, before Columbus stepped foot on the shores of North America or the New World. You already had people coming over here, right? You even have scholars. They found cocaine, which cocaine was only an American plant. They found cocaine in the hair of ancient Egyptian bodies. You can go ahead and look that up as well. You had ancient Egyptian pharaohs doing coke. They actually found mummies that had cocaine in their bodies, man, which that was only an American plant. So that's how you know people were already coming over here to America getting stuff, because America was a fruitful land. You know, when you read the book of Joel, the second chapter says the land is as the garden of Eden before them. Let me go ahead and get it in Joel, the second chapter. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, a fire devoureth before them, dealing with the missiles, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape. That's right. America was a real fruitful land. America was paradise. You know, before Esau came over here and completely dismantled America, America was actually a fruitful land. All right, it was filled with nothing but animals. Right, before Esau came over here, there was no diseases or rodents. Right, it was real fruitful. But Esau came over here and cursed it. You know, so it says Austrian, legendary land of Ophir, which furnished metal for temple, has been variously located. Now it says some scientists hold it was in South Africa, which when you go with the majority says that it was over here in America. And then I have some precepts to prove it as well. Because first and foremost, we believe in the scriptures. And then, you know, we have secular history, outside sources to back it up. Which, of course, I learned this from Apostle Tahar. You know, Apostle Tahar, he brought this out years ago. I remember watching this lesson that he did on this years ago, and I was reading through Kings, and it came back into my mind. And what I did was I looked it up, just like the Church of Berea. But anyway, it says the mention of Ophir, the land of gold. So this was called the land of gold, whose mines contributed to the splendor of King Solomon's temple, still stirs the fancy since Alexandria times. Fortune hunters, archaeologists, and explorers have sought the country of ivory, apes, and peacock to the many speculations on the exact location of Ophir. A new one has just been added. Now, I can't read the whole entire article because I got to pay for it. But I have other articles as well, right? It says, Explorer says the tablets found in Peru may link sites to Solomon's gold mines. See? An American explorer says that he has found 3 ancient stone tablets in Peru's highland jungle that may prove the area was the site of King Solomon's legendary gold mines. Right? It says the explorer, Jean Savoy, said in an interview the tablets contain the first writing found from the ancient civilization of the Andes, and that the inscriptions are similar to Phoenician and Semitic hieroglyphs. Now, Phoenician, what is that? Phoenician is the Greek way of saying Canaanite. Let's look it up. Phoenician, right? So it says a member of a Semitic people inhabiting ancient Phoenicia and its colonies. The Phoenicians prospered from trade and manufacturing until the capital, Tyre, was sacked by Alexander the Great in 332 BC. Right, so these are dealing with the Canaanites, because we know Tyre, right? They are associated with the Canaanites. So they're Hamites, Phoenician. Which, if you type in Phoenician alphabet, what's going to pop up? Phoenician alphabet. It's the Hebrew, right? Because us and the Canaanites, we share the same language, as well as everybody did in the whole entire world. Everybody was speaking Hebrew at one point, but us and the Canaanites, we kept the Hebrew. See, it says Child Systems Paleo Hebrew alphabet. So the Paleo Hebrew is nothing but the Lashawan Kodash. That's what it is, right? So let me see. Where was I at? All right, here we go. It says the explorer Jean Savoy said in an interview the tablets contain the first writing found from the ancient civilization of the Andes, and that the inscriptions are similar to Phoenician and Semitic hieroglyphs. John Rick, an archaeologist at Stanford University, who has worked in Peru for 15 years, said he was highly skeptical of Savoy's claim. Now, when you scroll down. All right, but let me read right here. It says when I first heard about the possible contact between Egypt and Israel in the Americas, nobody was more skeptical than I was. He said, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. They've been talking about this crazy stuff for years, but now we've got stone tablets, and this cannot be denied. Savoy, who has written books in his explorations in Peru, said he has studied his findings since early September and is preparing to publish them. The tablets were not brought here from another country like Egypt. This is a Chachapoyas form of hieroglyph writing, he said, referring to the Indian Empire that once dominated the jungle region. We're talking about something very old. It's possible that Indian cultures are much older than we realize, perhaps older than what we know as the old world, which that's dealing with the old world. That's the old world over there in the east, right? Now it says, let me jump back up here. It says, Savoy displayed photos of the tablets, which he said remain in the cave, and sketches of rubbings taken from the stones. He pointed out the similarities between the stylus inscriptions and samples of the Phoenician hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphs on the tablets are similar to those used in King Solomon's time, and include one identical to the symbol that always appeared on the ships he sent to the legendary land of Ophir, which the Bible described as the source of his gold, Savoy said. And he said that he thought it was ridiculous that these claims were being made. But then them tablets rolled out and said, "Damn, I can't even deny this. Like this has got to be true." See, hey man, you can do nothing for the truth but for it. You can't do nothing against the truth but for it. Everything links towards the scriptures, right? So then you have here this other article, right, tracing King Solomon's gold to lands of the ancient Incas, which they say that the Incas, they were in Hawaii, which Northern Kingdom, when they came over here, they were everywhere. Gad, Reuben, Issachar, Simeon, Ephraim, they were everywhere. So I want to skip to the point here, to this article, and then bring out some scriptures, which this shows you that our people done already knew about America before Columbus came here. How do you think Northern Kingdom found out about it? And the Canaanites was probably like, hey, look, if y'all trying to go somewhere, we know somewhere, far out, y'all can go that because nobody was living there. People were just trapped, like it says in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. Nobody was living in Azareth, which is America. People were just going there to get certain things and coming back because this was a real fruitful land. Okay, so this is the same scholar. I'm just skipping to the point. It says Savoy asked scholars to stretch their imaginations even further. Picture fleets of Phoenician ships almost 3,000 years ago, sailing across several oceans to load up with gold gathered in the Americas, and then returning their treasure to Jerusalem to build King Solomon's temple. Watch this. A 3-year round trip. A 3-year round trip. So about 1.5 year there and and 1.5 year back. Now, how long did it say in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, that it took the northern kingdom to get over here to America? Well, let's read it. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, and we're going to start at verse 40. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, or Hosea, the king, which he was the king of Samaria at that time, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. And that was over here in the Americas. Because people weren't living here. People were just coming here to get certain natural resources and return it back to the east. But the northern kingdom, right, starting with Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans, all the way down to Issachar, Mexicans, when they came over here, they actually lived here. Right? So this is verse 42. That they might there keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land. That's right. That's why when you take a look at the hieroglyphs, ancient paintings of the Incas, right, of the Mayans, of the Aztecs, right, they were all wearing garments with fringes. When you take a look at their culture, they were keeping the Feast of First Fruits, full moon feasts, new moon feasts, right? Because they were attempting to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures. And many scholars says that their culture is similar to those to that of the Jewish culture. So verse 43, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. Verse 45, for through that country, watch this, there was a great way to go of 1.5 years. And the same region is called Arshareth. That's right, which Arshareth, that's dealing with America. Now it says that it was of 1.5 years to get there. It was 1.5 years to get there. This just said what? It says right here, let me highlight it. It says, picture fleets of Phoenician ships almost 3,000 years ago sailing across several oceans to load up with gold gathered in the Americas, and then returning their treasure to Jerusalem to build King Solomon's temple. A 3-year round trip. 3-year round trip. 1.5 years there, 1.5 years back. That's 3 years. That's 3 years right there. Right? For evidence, Savoy points to a carved figure or glyph found on the wall of a tomb high in the Andes. It matches one found in the Middle East. He says, in his view, it's more than a coincidence that the marking means Ophir, the land rich in gold, referred to in the Bible. Its precise location, accessible by sea, has eluded Bible scholars for generations. And that's why when the conquistadors came over here to the Americas, they were forcing the Ephraimites to find gold, or they would chop their fingers off. The Asherites, they had plenty of gold, man. They had a lot of gold that Esau came and stole. They had all of that. This land was rich in gold. And King Solomon was sending his navy over here to get the gold and bringing it back to his spot. So now let's get some of these scriptures. Right, this is 1 Kings chapter 9, starting at verse 26. It says, and King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion Geber, which is beside Elath, on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. And Hiram which Hiram, he was a Canaanite, and the Canaanites were known for commerce. All right, they were known for, they were actually tradesmen. They were seamen, right? Which you can read that in the scriptures. Hey, them so-called Africans that be in New York, they be selling the fake Gucci bags and the Louis bags, right? Those are actual Canaanites. Those are actual Canaanites, man. They still carry on their traditions to this day of being tradesmen, merchantmen, right? A which my dad told me that his tribe and them, man, they had beef. They had crazy beef, and he told me like, yeah, they're really good at selling stuff. I forgot which tribe it is in West Africa, but they're Hamites, they're Canaanites. I forgot which tribe. Dang, I want to look it up. Let me see. West Africa. When I see it, I'm gonna know it is. I'm gonna know who it is. West African tribes. Yeah, here we go. The Hausa people. Yep, the Hausa people. They're known for being merchantmen in Africa. Because I asked my dad about them. Because my dad is from is from West Africa, and he had told me about them, right? And he said that their woman is not allowed to marry their sons and vice versa, which is Deuteronomy 7, right? But you got these other tribes, Fula, which I believe that's Fulani. You got the Yoruba, Igbo, right? You got the Mandinka. Those are all Jakes. Akan, those are all Jakes. Ashanti, Congo, right? Those are Jakes. But the Hausa, they're Canaanites, right? So back to 1 Kings 9:27. It says, and Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon, and they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. See that? Which that's a whole lot of gold, man. That's a whole lot of gold. So they went to a fair and they got a bunch, which was America, and they brought to Solomon a whole bunch of gold. So now let's hit this. 1 Kings 10 and verse 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarsus with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarsus, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. You see that? So they would come over here and bring a whole bunch of natural resources and animals, clearly, back to King Solomon. Would you see that these scholars know what's up? They do their research. They do their research and they know what's up. That's how you know that these scriptures are real. Oh yeah. And dig this, right? Now, look at this. It says the voyage seek to prove the Incas deliberately navigated to their destination and return, following a diagonal angle of 310 degrees on the compass. The feathered serpent navigators used the southeast trade winds to move across the equator. Now, what's so funny is that the Aztecs, they have a god which is actually Yahweh Shai. He's known as a feathered serpent called Quetzalcoatl, a so-called black man that was hung on a cross. He was known as a fiery feathered serpent. Let's go ahead and look him up. Feathered serpent, Aztec. God, right? Quetzalcoatl, right? Now you look him up. Hold up. On cross. Yup, see that? It's Quetzalcoatl right there. So-called black man being hung on a cross with a spear in his side. See that? Because Yahweh Shai actually came over here to the northern kingdom and taught them. That's why the Lord said this in St. John, the 10th chapter. John 10 and verse 16. It says, "And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd." See that? One fold and one shepherd. And that's dealing with the northern kingdom. Because remember, Yahweh Shai, when he was on the scene, who was he mainly dealing with? He was mainly dealing with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. But the northern kingdom had to be taught Yahweh Shai as well, right? So this is Ezekiel 37 and verse Ezekiel 37. Let me see here. Yep, Ezekiel 37:22. It says, "And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all." That's right. That's why it says in John 10 and 16, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd, no more a division, northern kingdom and southern kingdom. We just all going to be the kingdom of Israel, right? Hey, so with that, I'm going to close out. Yahweh Tazah, you few brothers and sisters were edified. Till next time, I say shalom.